Hey girls, dudes, and theys, today we're going to be talking about the #1 female podcast in the world, and that is Call Her Daddy. Call Her Daddy is owned by Barstool Sports and is hosted by Alex Cooper. The main premise of the podcast is Alex just talking about her week. But don't worry, it's not just like a surface level thing. She goes in depth. She talks about her sexual experiences. She talks about women's health. She talks about women's pleasure. She talks about her experiences with men. I know. The goal of the podcast is to empower women, to make them feel comfortable talking about these topics that are often seen as taboo. It works because women relate to Alex. They want to know what to do in sexual situations. They want to know how to feel pleasure. They want to know things about men. I don't know. What sadly hasn't been working with the podcast recently is not the podcast itself, but developments in the podcast industry. So the podcast industry is relatively new, but it's growing really quickly. And this has led to her ex-co-host Sophia leaving because she felt like Barstool wasn't paying them enough money for the podcast, which is really big. I find this interesting and I want to learn more about podcasts and the podcast industry and the implications of big names like Joe Rogan moving to a single platform such as Spotify. I think that would be awesome.